The billionaire's daughter hadn't smiled in 8 months. Every doctor had failed. Every therapy had failed. Then security cameras caught a barefoot homeless girl sneaking into his garden. And what she did next made him freeze. The billionaire's first instinct was to call the police. He followed his second instinct that saved his daughter's life, destroy his marriage, wreck his reputation, and change his life forever. Stay till the end so you won't miss the twist in this beautiful story. Before we dive into this story, hit subscribe, so you don't miss more gripping tales like this one, full of suspense, twists, and unforgettable characters. And while you're here, leave a comment with where you're watching from. Lagos, London, California, anywhere in the world. It's always amazing to see how far these stories reach. Frank Benson, the multi-billionaire, kept thinking as he stood frozen on his mansion's marble balcony, watching a barefoot girl in torn clothes dancing in his private garden. Dancing for his daughter, his paralyzed daughter. Amara sat in her wheelchair by the fountain, and for the first time in 8 months, she was laughing. Actually laughing. The sound cut through Frank like broken glass. He gripped the balcony railing, his knuckles white. The girl couldn't have been more than 19. Dirt streaked across her face. Her dress, if you could call it that, was nothing but rags stitched together. No shoes. Hair matted and wild. But she moved like water. Like joy had a body. She spun, stumbled on purpose, made ridiculous faces. Amara clapped. The girl froze mid-spin, then grinned and bowed dramatically. Amara clapped harder. Frank's chest tightened. His daughter hadn't smiled since the accident. Hadn't spoken more than 3 words a day. The therapist said she was depressed. The doctors said give it time. His wife said Amara was broken. But right now, watching this homeless girl dance like a fool, his daughter looked alive. Sir. Frank turned sharply. His head of security, James, stood in the doorway. How did she get in? James shifted uncomfortably. We're checking the cameras now. The perimeter sensors didn't trigger. Find out how. And get her out. Yes, sir. But as James turned to leave, Amara's voice drifted up from the garden. Again. Do the funny walk again. Frank's hand shot up. Wait. James stopped. Frank looked back down at the garden. The girl was doing some kind of exaggerated robot walk, her arms jerking stiffly. Amara was doubled over in her wheelchair, giggling so hard she could barely breathe. When was the last time Frank had heard that sound? Before the car crash that killed his first wife. Before the doctors said Amara would never walk again. Before this house became a tomb of silence and expensive medical equipment. Sir? James asked quietly. Frank's jaw worked. Every instinct told him to have security remove this girl immediately. She was trespassing. She was dirty. She was clearly homeless. She could be dangerous. She could be. Amara clapped again, and the sound echoed in Frank's chest. Leave her, he said. Sir. I said leave her. But watch. Closely. James hesitated, then nodded and disappeared. Frank remained on the balcony, watching. The girl finished her dance and sat down on the grass, cross-legged. She was saying something to Amara. He couldn't hear what, but Amara was nodding, her face bright with interest. Then the girl stood and started dancing again, this time slower, gentler. She moved her arms like waves. Like wind. Amara watched, mesmerized. The girl pointed at the sky, at the trees, at the flowers. She was describing things, teaching Amara to see the world differently. Frank's throat felt tight. He pulled out his phone and called his assistant. Margaret, I need a background check on every homeless shelter within 5 miles of the estate. And I need it in an hour. Sir. Just do it. He hung up. Down in the garden, the girl was helping Amara reach for a flower, gently guiding her hand. patient, kind. His second wife, Vanessa, would lose her mind if she saw this. She already hated when Amara's nurses got too familiar. Said it gave the girl false hope. Said Amara needed to accept her new reality. Frank had stopped arguing with her months ago. But watching this stranger, this homeless, dirty, uninvited stranger, bring light back to his daughter's eyes, something shifted in his chest. Something he couldn't name. The girl stood and started to leave. Wait! Amara called out, her voice desperate. The girl turned back. Will you come tomorrow? The girl looked around nervously, like she knew she was somewhere she shouldn't be. Then she smiled. If I can, little queen. If I can. Amara beamed. The girl slipped through the hedge and disappeared. Amara sat alone in her wheelchair, staring at the spot where the girl had been. But she was still smiling. Frank watched his daughter for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change everything. Frank walked down the marble staircase slowly, his mind racing. He found James in the security office, reviewing camera footage. Show me, Frank said. James pointed at the screen. The footage showed the east hedge. At 3:47 p.m., a small figure squeezed through a gap near the ground. The girl. She looked around carefully, then spotted Amara sitting alone by the fountain. The nanny had gone inside for tea. For exactly 15 minutes. The girl watched Amara for a full minute. Just watched. Then she stepped forward and started dancing. Rewind it, Frank said. Before she came through, James clicked back. The girl appeared from the street side, walking slowly. She stopped outside the fence, looked through, saw Amara, and her whole face changed. Zoom in on her expression. James did. Frank leaned closer to the screen. The girl wasn't smiling. She looked heartbroken, like she recognized something in Amara's loneliness. Then she glanced around, checking for guards, and slipped through the hedge. She didn't come to steal, Frank said quietly. Sir. She came because she saw a sad child. That's all. James said nothing. Frank straightened. I want to know who she is, where she sleeps, everything. You want me to have her arrested? No. I want you to find her. Discreetly. Don't approach her. Just watch. James frowned but nodded. Frank left the security office and headed toward Amara's room. His daughter was being bathed by her nurse, Patience. He could hear her humming. Amara hadn't hummed in 8 months. He knocked on the doorframe. Patience looked up, surprised. Mr. Benson. Amara is almost done. I'll wait. Patience helped Amara into her wheelchair, dressed in soft pink pajamas. The little girl's face lit up when she saw her father. Daddy, did you see her? Did you see the dancing girl? Frank knelt down so he was eye level with his daughter. I did, sweetheart. She was so funny. She did this. Amara tried to recreate the robot walk with her arms, laughing at herself. Frank's heart cracked. Did she tell you her name? No. But I asked her to come back tomorrow. Do you think she will? Frank touched his daughter's cheek gently. I don't know, baby. But I hope so. She said I was a queen, Daddy. She called me Little Queen. You are a queen. Amara leaned forward and whispered conspiratorially. Mommy Vanessa wouldn't like her. She doesn't like poor people. Frank's jaw tightened. Amara. It's okay, Daddy. I won't tell. She smiled like they were sharing a secret. Frank kissed her forehead. Get some rest, sweetheart. Will you tell Mommy Vanessa about the dancing girl? Frank hesitated. Not I want. Amara nodded knowingly. As Frank left the room, his phone buzzed. Margaret. Sir, I have the shelter information you requested. Send it to my private email. And Margaret, not a word to anyone. Of course, sir. He hung up and walked to his study, closed the door, locked it. Then he sat at his desk and opened Margaret's email. 5 homeless shelters within the radius. He studied each one. Then he made another call. James, when you locate the girl, I want daily reports. Where she goes, what she does, who she talks to. Understood, sir. And James? If anyone asks what you're doing, you're conducting routine security assessments. Nothing more. Yes, sir. Frank ended the call and leaned back in his leather chair. His office was filled with awards, plaques, photos of him shaking hands with presidents and CEOs. But none of it had made Amara laugh. None of it had brought light back to her eyes. A homeless girl dancing in his garden had done what millions of dollars couldn't. The door handle rattled. Frank? Why is this locked? Vanessa. He stood and opened the door. His wife swept in, wearing a cream designer dress, her makeup flawless. She was beautiful, cold, calculated. We need to talk about the gala next week, she said, not looking at him. Amara was laughing today. Vanessa paused, her hand hovering over the papers on his desk. What? Amara. She was laughing. Actually laughing. Vanessa's expression didn't change. That's nice. Did the new therapist finally do something right? No. It was someone else. Who? Frank hesitated. Something in his gut told him not to tell her. Not yet. Just one of the nurses. They were playing a game. Vanessa shrugged. Well, don't let them get her hopes up. The doctors said she'll never walk. She needs to accept that. Frank's hands curled into fists. She's 8 years old, Vanessa. She doesn't need to accept anything. She needs to be realistic. She needs to be happy. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. What's gotten into you? Nothing. I heard my daughter laugh today, and I realized how long it's been. Vanessa picked up the papers she'd come for. Well, don't let her get too excited. Disappointment is worse than acceptance. She left without another word. Frank stood alone in his study. His jaw tightened. His wife had given up on his daughter. Had decided Amara's life was over at 8 years old. But that girl, that dirty, homeless, uninvited girl, hadn't given up. She'd seen a lonely child and brought her joy. Frank pulled out his phone and texted James. Find her tonight. I want to know everything by morning. The reply came instantly. Already on it, sir. Frank walked to the window, looked out at the garden where Amara had laughed, and made a decision. If that girl came back tomorrow, he would let her. He would watch. He would learn who she was. And if she was genuine, if she was truly just a kind soul who wanted to help his daughter, then maybe, just maybe, she was the answer to a prayer he'd stopped praying months ago. Then the next, the sun shone harshly on the massive mansion. The girl came back. Frank was waiting. He'd positioned himself in the upstairs library, a room with a perfect view of the garden. Amara was outside again, same spot, same time, 3:45 p.m. Her nanny had been instructed to take her tea break at exactly 3:45. 15 minutes. Frank wanted to see if the girl would return. At 3:47, she appeared, slipping through the same gap in the hedge. This time Frank noticed something. She carried a small plastic bag. She approached Amara carefully. Little queen, you're here. Amara's face exploded with joy. You came back. I was scared you wouldn't. The girl sat down on the grass, cross-legged. I promised, didn't I? And I brought you something. She reached into the plastic bag. pulled out a small wooden bird.
Look what I found for you.
Carved by
A
hand.
bird, it's so cute.
Rough,
It's yours now. Want to go
unpainted,
explore?
Yes, let's
but
go.
clearly made with care. I made this for you, the girl said softly. It's a bird. Because even though you can't
Look what I
walk
found
right
for you.
now, you
A
can
bird,
still
it's so
fly.
cute.
It's yours
In
now.
your
Want to go
mind.
explore?
Yes,
In
let's
your
go.
dreams. Amara took the bird with trembling hands. Her eyes filled with tears. It's beautiful. You can feel the wings here, the girl guided Amara's fingers. And the beak here. I made it smooth so it won't hurt your hands. Frank's throat constricted. This girl had nothing. Probably slept on the streets. Probably went hungry most days. And she'd spent time carving a gift for a child she'd met once. Amara clutched the bird to her chest. What's your name? I can't keep calling you dancing girl. The girl hesitated. My name is Zainab, but most people call me Z. I'm Amara, but you can call me Mandy. Mandy the Queen, Z grinned. I like it. Z, why do you dance? The question hung in the air. Z looked away, toward the sky. Because when you have nothing, dancing is free. And when you're sad, dancing reminds you that your body still works. That you're still alive. Are you sad a lot? Sometimes. But not today. Today I'm happy because I get to see you. Amara smiled, but then her expression changed. Became serious. Z, do you think I'll ever walk again? Frank leaned forward, his heart pounding. Z didn't answer right away. She looked at Amara with such tenderness. I don't know, little queen. I'm not a doctor. But I know this. Whether you walk or not, you're still amazing. You're still important. You're still a whole person. My stepmom says I'm broken. Frank's blood went cold. Z's face hardened. Your stepmom is wrong. You're not broken. You're just different now. And different doesn't mean less. But I can't do anything anymore. I can't run. I can't dance. I can't. Can you think? Amara blinked. Yes. Can you feel? Yes. Can you love? Yes. Then you can do everything that matters. Amara stared at Z, then burst into tears. Not sad tears. Something else. Relief, maybe. Or hope. Z pulled her into a hug. Just held her. This homeless girl holding a billionaire's daughter. Like she was precious. Like she mattered. Frank had to look away. His own eyes burning. When Amara finally pulled back, she was smiling through her tears. Will you dance for me again? Always. Z stood and began moving. But this dance was different. Slower. More graceful. She moved like she was telling a story without words. Amara watched, transfixed. Then Z did something unexpected. She wheeled Amara's chair into the open space. Your turn. I can't dance. Yes, you can. You just dance differently now. Z began moving Amara's chair in slow circles. Gentle spins. Amara gasped, then laughed. I'm dancing. You're flying, little queen. Frank watched his daughter's face. Pure joy. Pure freedom. For 8 months, everyone had told Amara what she couldn't do. Couldn't walk. Couldn't run. Couldn't be normal. In 5 minutes, this girl had shown her what she could do. Could laugh. Could dream. Could still experience beauty. The 15 minutes ended too quickly. Z slowed the wheelchair to a stop. I have to go, Mandy. Will you come back tomorrow? Z glanced toward the house nervously. I don't know if I should. This is your home. I'm not supposed to be here. Please, please come back. Z knelt down. Listen to me, little queen. If I can't come back, I want you to remember something. You are not your wheelchair. You are not your legs. You are your heart, your mind, your spirit. And those things are perfect. Amara nodded, crying again. Z kissed her forehead, then stood and walked toward the hedge. She stopped, turned back. Mandy? Yes. Don't let anyone make you feel small. You're a queen. Act like it. Then she slipped through the hedge and disappeared. Amara sat alone, holding the wooden bird, smiling through her tears. Frank remained at the window for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. James, did you find her? Yes, sir. She's staying at St. Mary's Shelter on Adeniji Street. No family. Been on the streets for 2 years. Name is Zainab Okafor. She's 17. 17. She was just a child herself. What else? She works odd jobs. Sells
Ice cold water,
at
$1.
traffic lights.
I'll take one.
Here you go.
Washes
Thank you.
cars.
Water here.
The
Stay
shelter
cool.
staff say she's quiet.
Ice cold water,
Keeps
$1.
to herself.
I'll take one.
Here you go.
Never
Thank you.
causes
Water
trouble.
here. Stay cool.
Why is she on the streets? Parents died in a fire. No other family would take her in. She aged out of the orphanage system last year. Frank closed his eyes. This girl had lost everything, and still found ways to give joy to others. Sir, James asked, what do you want me to do? Frank thought for a long moment. I want you to arrange something, but it has to be done carefully. Very carefully. What kind of arrangement? I want to hire her. Silence on the line. Sir, you heard me. I want to hire Zainab Okafor, but not as a maid, not as staff, as Amara's companion. Someone to spend time with her, make her laugh, help her feel normal. Sir, with all respect, Mrs. Benson will never. Mrs. Benson doesn't need to know. Not yet. How do you plan to hide an entire person in your house? I'll figure that out. Just make contact with the girl. Discreetly. Feel her out. See if she'd be interested. And if she says no? Then we respect that. But offer her money. Real money. Enough to get off the streets. Enough to go to school if she wants. Tell her it's a job helping a child who needs her. This is highly irregular, sir. I know. Do it anyway. Frank hung up, walked to his daughter's room, found her still holding the wooden bird. Daddy, look what Z made me. Frank sat on the edge of her bed. It's beautiful, sweetheart. She said I can still fly even if I can't walk. Do you think that's true? Frank touched his daughter's face. I think Z is very wise. I love her, Daddy. The words hit him like a punch. You just met her, baby. I know. But she sees me. Really sees me. Not just my wheelchair. Not just what's broken. She sees me. Frank pulled his daughter close. I see you too, sweetheart. I know, Daddy. But sometimes I think you're scared to look too close. Because it hurts you. 8 years old. And she understood more than he gave her credit for. You're right, he whispered. I have been scared. But not anymore. That night, Vanessa came to bed late, smelling of wine and expensive perfume. She didn't ask about his day. Didn't ask about Amara. Just scrolled through her phone, planning her next charity gala. The kind of charity that looked good on Instagram. Not the kind that actually helped anyone. Frank pretended to sleep, but his mind was racing. Tomorrow, James would make contact with Z. Tomorrow, everything might change. Or it might all fall apart. But for the first time in 8 months, Frank felt something. Hope. James found
Ice
Z
cold water.
the next morning.
Sir, water
She
only
was
$1.
at the Ojo
Ma'am, stay
Legba
hydrated.
intersection,
Water for the
selling
heat.
bottled water in
Ice
traffic,
cold water.
dodging
Sir,
between
water only
cars
$1.
in the hot
Ma'am,
sun.
stay hydrated.
Her clothes
Water for
were
the heat.
different, but just as warm.
Ice cold water.
A faded
Sir,
yellow
water only
dress.
$1. Ma'am, stay
Same bare
hydrated.
feet.
Water for the heat.
James watched her for 20 minutes before approaching. She had a system. She smiled
Ice
at
cold water,
every
$1.
driver.
I'll take one.
Never
Here you go.
begged.
Thank you.
Never
Water here.
demanded.
Stay cool.
Just
Ice
offered.
cold water.
And when
Sir,
people
water
said
only
no,
$1.
she
Ma'am,
thanked
stay
them
hydrated.
anyway.
Water for the
She'd
heat.
made maybe 300 naira in 20 minutes. Barely enough for a meal. When the light turned red again, James stepped out of his car. Zainab. She froze. Her eyes went wide. Scared. Who's asking? James kept his distance, hands visible. My name is James. I work for the Benson family. Can we talk? Just for a moment. Z took a step back. I didn't steal anything. I didn't break anything. I'm sorry I went in the garden. I won't do it again. You're not in trouble. Then what do you want? Mr. Benson would like to offer you a job. Z blinked. A job? Working with his daughter. Making her happy. Like you did yesterday. And the day before. Z's face went through several emotions. Confusion. Suspicion. Disbelief. Why would a rich man want someone like me around his daughter? Because you made her laugh. For the first time in 8 months. Z bit her lip, looking around nervously. I don't understand. Is this some kind of trick? James pulled out an envelope. This is an advance. 200,000 naira. Whether you take the job or not, it's yours. For the wooden bird. For the kindness you showed a lonely child. Z stared at the envelope like it might explode. That's too much. Mr. Benson disagrees. I can't take this. You can, and you should. But there's more on the table if you're interested. The traffic light changed. Cars honked. Z grabbed James's arm and pulled him to the roadside. Tell me exactly what this job is. Spend time with Amara. A few hours each day. Dance with her. Talk to her. Help her feel like a normal child. That's all. That's not a job. That's just being nice. For you, maybe. But for Amara, it's medicine. Better than any doctor has given her. Z looked at the envelope again. What's the catch? The catch is that Mrs. Benson cannot know. Not yet. And who is Mrs. Benson? She asked again. Her stepmother, James replied. Z's eyes narrowed. Why not? Because Mrs. Benson has different ideas about what Amara needs. She wouldn't approve of this arrangement. So you want me to sneak around? We want you to help a child who desperately needs you. The sneaking is just logistics. Z was quiet for a long moment. Can I think about it? Of course. But Amara asked for you this morning. She's been asking all day. That did it. Z's resistance crumbled. She asked for me? 6 times before breakfast. Z's eyes filled with tears. She took the envelope. When do I start? Tomorrow. 3:30 p.m. Come to the east gate. Someone will let you in. Z nodded, then looked at James seriously. I'm not doing this for the money. I know. I'm doing it because that little girl deserves to smile. I know that too. Z tucked the envelope into her dress. Tell Mandy I'll be there. Then she walked back into traffic, back to her bottles of water. But this time, James noticed, she was smiling. That evening, Frank was in his study when Vanessa burst in. No knock. No warning. Her face was flushed. Angry. We need to talk about Amara's therapy schedule. Frank looked up from his laptop. What about it? The therapist called. Said Amara has been distracted during sessions. Not focused. Keeps talking about some imaginary friend. Frank's stomach tightened. Imaginary friend? Some girl who dances. Obviously, Amara is making up stories for attention. I think we should increase her sessions to daily. She needs more structure. Or maybe she needs less pressure. Frank said sharply. Vanessa's eyes flashed. She needs discipline, Frank. She needs to understand that her condition is permanent. That wishing won't change reality. She's 8 years old, Vanessa. Let her wish. Wishing leads to disappointment. I'm trying to protect her. You're trying to control her. The words came out harder than Frank intended. Vanessa went very still. What did you just say? You heard me. Ever since the accident, you've been trying to make Amara accept defeat. To give up. To stop hoping. I'm being realistic. You're being cruel. Vanessa's face went white. Then red. How dare you? I have given that child everything. I married you knowing she came with the package. I could have married someone without damaged goods. Get out. Frank's voice was quiet. Deadly. What? Get out of my study. Now. You can't speak to me like. Get out. The roar echoed through the house. Vanessa stumbled backward. Shocked. Frank never yelled. Never lost control. She recovered quickly, her face twisting into something ugly. You're going to regret this. I already regret marrying you. The words hung in the air like poison. Vanessa's mouth opened, closed. Then she turned and walked out. Slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Frank sat in the silence, his hands shaking. He'd said it. Finally said what he'd been thinking for months. He didn't love her. Maybe he never had. He'd married her because he was lonely. Because Amara needed a mother. Because he thought a new family could erase the pain of losing his first wife. But Vanessa wasn't a mother to Amara. She was a stranger who resented the child's existence. Who saw her as competition for attention and money. Frank pulled out his phone. Texted James. Is the girl confirmed for tomorrow? Yes, sir. 3:30 p.m. Good. And James? We need to be extra careful now. Vanessa is suspicious. Understood. Frank locked his study door, poured himself a non-alcoholic wine, and stared at the photo on his desk. His first wife, Abigail, Amara's biological mother. Beautiful, kind, gone too soon. I'm sorry, he whispered to the photo. I'm sorry I let our daughter suffer. I'm sorry I chose wrong, but I'm going to fix it. I promise. The photo didn't answer, but somehow, Frank felt lighter, like a weight had lifted. Tomorrow, Z would come. Tomorrow, Amara would smile again. And tomorrow, Frank would start the process of untangling his life from a woman who had never loved his daughter. Whatever it took. The next day, 3:30 p.m. came slowly. Amara had been vibrating with excitement all morning. Is she coming, Daddy? Is Z really coming? Yes, sweetheart. What if she doesn't? What if she forgot? She won't forget. Amara clutched her wooden bird. Wore her favorite pink dress. Had the nanny brush her hair 3 times. At 3:25, Frank positioned himself in the library. At 3:28, Amara was wheeled into the garden. At 3:30 exactly, the east gate opened. Z stepped through. She looked different. Cleaner. Her hair was washed. She wore a simple blue dress that actually fit. Still no shoes, though. Some things didn't change. Amara saw her and screamed. Z! Z ran across the grass. Dropped to her knees in front of the wheelchair. Little queen. Look at you. You're so pretty. You came. You really came. I promised, didn't I? They hugged. Tight. Long. Like they'd been separated for years instead of one day. Frank watched from above. His chest tight. This was right. Whatever else happened, this was right. I have so much to tell you. Amara was talking so fast the words tumbled over each other. I named the bird. I called her Hope. And I told Patience about you. And I practiced moving my arms like you showed me. Z laughed. Slow down, Mandy. We have time. We have all afternoon. Really? You can stay that long? I can stay as long as you need me. Amara's face glowed. Then stay forever. Z's smile faltered. Just for a second. I'll stay as long as I can, little queen. That's all any of us can promise. She stood and did a dramatic bow.
Ready to see some
Now,
moves?
shall we dance?
Show me.
Here comes the
Amara
spin.
clapped.
Wow, cool.
Yes.
One more.
Yes.
Ready to
Dance.
see some moves?
And Z
Yes,
began.
show me.
Here comes the
Frank
spin.
watched for 5 minutes. Then he made a decision. He walked downstairs, stepped out into the garden. Both girls froze when they saw him. Z started to back away. Sir, I'm sorry, I was invited, I didn't. It's all right, Zainab. She blinked. You know my name? I know a lot about you. And I wanted to meet you properly. He extended his hand. Thank you for making my daughter happy. Z stared at his hand, then carefully shook it. Her grip was surprisingly strong. She makes me happy too, sir. Please, call me Frank. And I have a question for you. Okay. How would you like to do this every day? Officially. As a job. Z glanced at Amara, who was watching with huge eyes. Your man already asked me. I said yes. I know. But I wanted to ask you myself. Because this isn't about me hiring you. This is about you choosing to help my daughter. And I want you to know, you can say no. You can walk away. No judgment. No consequences. Z looked at Amara. At the little girl who was holding her wooden bird. Who was smiling so wide it looked like her face might split. I choose to stay, Z said quietly. Not for the money. For her. Frank nodded. That's all I needed to hear. He turned to leave. Can I ask a question? Z's voice stopped him. Yes. Why doesn't your wife want me here? The billionaire looked at her for a long moment. This 17-year-old homeless girl who saw too much. Because she doesn't understand that the best things in life can't be bought. He finally told her. Z smiled sadly. Most rich people don't. I'm learning that. He left them in the garden, went back to his study, and started drafting divorce papers in his mind. For 2 weeks it worked perfectly. Every day at 3:30.
Ready to
Z
see some
arrived.
moves?
Every day.
Yes, show me.
Amara
Here comes the
laughed,
spin.
Wow,
danced,
cool.
One more.
lived. Z
Ready to see
brought
some
stories
moves?
From the
Yes,
street.
show me.
Taught
Here comes the
Amara
spin.
songs she'd
Wow,
learned
cool.
from market
One more.
women. Showed her how to make bracelets from old newspaper. How to find joy in nothing. Amara was transforming. Speaking more. Sitting straighter. Even her physical therapist noticed. Whatever you're doing differently, the therapist told Frank, keep doing it. Her muscle tone is improving. Her attitude is completely changed. Frank just smiled. Said nothing. But Vanessa was watching. She'd noticed the change too. And she didn't like it. On the 15th day, she made her move. Frank was at the office when his phone rang. Vanessa. We need to talk. Now. I'm in a meeting. I don't care. Come home. Now. She hung up. Frank's stomach dropped. He told his assistant to cancel everything. Drove home breaking every speed limit. When he arrived, Vanessa was waiting in the foyer. Arms crossed. Face like stone. Upstairs. Now. He followed her to their bedroom. She closed the door. Locked it. Want to tell me why there's a homeless girl in my house every day? Frank's blood went cold. What are you talking about? Don't play stupid with me. I had the security footage reviewed. Every day for 2 weeks, the same dirty girl comes through the east gate. spends 2 hours with Amara, then leaves. She's not dirty, and she's helping Amara. Helping her? Vanessa's voice rose. You brought a street rat into my home, around my stepdaughter, without telling me. She's not a street rat. Her name is Zainab. I don't care what her name is. I want her gone. Today. Now. No. Vanessa's eyes widened. What did you say? I said no. Zainab stays. The hell she does. This is my house. This is my house. Frank's voice boomed. My house that I bought with my money before I ever met you. And that is my daughter who is finally happy for the first time in 8 months. Because of some homeless teenager? Are you insane? Maybe. But I've never seen Amara this alive. This hopeful. And I won't take that away from her. Vanessa's face twisted. Do you know what people will say if they find out? If word gets out that Frank Benson is letting street children into his home? It'll destroy your reputation. My reputation. I don't care. You should. Because I'll make sure everyone knows. Every society woman. Every business partner. Everyone. Frank stepped closer. His voice went quiet. Dangerous. Are you threatening me? Vanessa lifted her chin. I'm protecting our family's image. You're protecting your access to my money. Her face flushed. How dare. I know, Vanessa. I know you never loved Amara. I know you only tolerate her because you had to. I know you've been waiting for her to be sent away to some facility so you don't have to deal with her. That's not. Don't lie to me. I've heard you, on the phone with your friends, complaining about the damaged stepdaughter ruining your life. Vanessa's mouth opened and closed. Caught. If you try to remove Zainab from Amara's life, Frank continued, I will divorce you. I will make sure you leave with nothing. And I will tell everyone exactly why. You can't do that. Watch me. He turned and walked out, left her standing there, shocked, furious, powerless. Before we continue this beautiful story, take a moment to subscribe if you haven't already so you won't miss more gripping stories like this. Frank went straight to Amara's room, found her and Z sitting on the floor, making paper flowers. Both of them looked up when he entered. Daddy, look. Z is teaching me to make roses. Frank knelt down, looked at Z. We need to talk. Privately. Fear flashed across Z's face. I'll go. No. Stay. Please. He turned to Amara. Sweetheart, can you give us a minute? I need to talk to Z about grown-up things. Amara nodded. Okay. But she's coming back, right? Yes, baby. She's coming back. Amara wheeled herself to the window. Frank helped Z stand, led her to the hallway, closed the door. My wife knows you're here. Z's face went pale. I'm so sorry. I'll leave. I'll never come back. Stop. Listen to me. You're not going anywhere. But things are going to get difficult. Vanessa is going to try to make your life hell. She's going to try to scare you away. Maybe I should just go. I don't want to cause problems. You're not causing problems. You're exposing them. There's a difference. Z bit her lip. I'm just a nobody. She's your wife. Why would you choose me over her? I'm not choosing you over her. I'm choosing my daughter. And you're the first person besides me who's actually put Amara first. Z's eyes filled with tears. She deserves everything. I know. And I'm going to make sure she gets it. But I need you to be strong. Can you do that? Z wiped her eyes, straightened her spine. I've survived on the streets for 2 years. I can survive a rich woman's anger. Frank smiled. You're braver than you know. No. I just love that little girl. And when you love someone, you fight. Frank's throat tightened. This child, because that's what she was, just a child, understood more about love than his wife ever would. Come on, he said. Amara's waiting. They went back to the room. Amara looked up anxiously. Everything okay? Z smiled. Everything's perfect, little queen. Now where were we? Oh right, roses. She sat back down, started folding paper again, like nothing had happened, like the world wasn't about to explode around them. Frank watched for a moment, then left to call his lawyer. It was time. That night, Vanessa didn't come to bed. She was in the guest room, making calls. Frank could hear her voice through the walls. Shrill, angry, planning something. He didn't care. Let her plan. Let her scheme. He'd already made his choice. The next morning, he met
Your
with
Honor,
his
the evidence
lawyer.
clearly shows my client
I
acted in
want a
self-defense.
divorce.
Objection, that
The
mischaracterizes
lawyer,
the facts.
a
Sustained.
sharp
Counselor,
woman
stick to
named
the record.
Funmi,
Your Honor,
raised
the
an
evidence clearly
eyebrow.
shows my client acted
On
in
what
self-defense.
grounds?
Objection, that mischaracterizes the
Emotional
facts.
Sustained.
neglect.
Counselor, stick to the record.
Cruelty. Take your pick. You'll need proof. I have recordings. Her phone calls with friends. Complaining about Amara. Calling her a burden. Funmi's expression hardened. Send them to me. We'll build a case. How long will it take? If she fights, months. Maybe a year. Then we start today. Frank left the lawyer's office feeling lighter. Drove home. Found Vanessa waiting in the foyer. Again. But this time she wasn't alone. A policeman stood beside her. Frank's heart stopped. What's going on? Vanessa smiled. Cold. Triumphant. Officer, this is my husband. He's the one harboring the vagrant. The policeman looked at Frank. Sir, is it true you've been allowing an unregistered minor onto your property? Unregistered? She's not a criminal. She's a homeless minor with no legal guardian. That makes her a ward of the state. Bringing her onto private property without proper authorization is illegal. Frank's hands curled into fists. You did this, he said to Vanessa. You called the police on a child. I called the police on a trespasser. She was invited, the billionaire frustrated. By you, not by me. And as co-owner of this property, I have the right to refuse entry to anyone. Frank turned to the policeman. Officer, this is a misunderstanding. Sir, I'm going to need you to produce the girl. Now. Frank's mind raced. Z was in the garden with Amara. If the police took her, she'd go back to the shelter. Or worse, into the system. Foster care. Where she'd be lost. She's not here, Frank said. Sir, don't make this difficult. I said she's not here. She left an hour ago. The policeman looked at Vanessa, who looked furious. Search the house, she demanded. I can't do that without a warrant, ma'am. Then get one. The policeman sighed. Sir, if the girl returns, you need to contact social services immediately. Is that clear? Crystal. The policeman left. Vanessa rounded on Frank. You're lying. She's here. I know she's here. Prove it. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. I will find her. And when I do, I'll have her arrested for trespassing. Try it. And I'll have you arrested for harassment. They stood facing each other. Two people who'd once promised to love each other. Now enemies. This isn't over, Vanessa hissed. You're right. It's just beginning. She stormed off. Frank waited until he heard her car leave, then ran to the garden. Found Z and Amara hiding behind the hedge. Both of them had heard everything. Amara was crying. Z was holding her. I have to go, don't I? Z said quietly. Not yet. But we need a new plan. What kind of plan? Frank knelt down, looked at this brave, beautiful girl who'd risked everything for his daughter. How would you feel about being officially adopted? Z's eyes went wide. What? I can't keep sneaking you in, and I can't let you go back to the streets. So I'm going to make you family. Legally. You can't. I'm nobody. You're the person who saved my daughter. That makes you somebody. Z started crying. Amara grabbed her hand. Say yes. Please say yes. Then you can be my sister. Z looked between them. This broken family that was somehow becoming whole. You really mean it? I've never meant anything more, the billionaire said. Z wiped her eyes. Nodded. Okay. Yes. I'll be your family. Amara cheered. Threw her arms around Z.
Wow, look at the
Frank
water.
stood.
It's so
Pulled out
beautiful and
his
sparkly.
phone,
I love
called
it here.
his lawyer. I need to add something to the divorce papers. I'm filing for adoption of a 17-year-old girl named Zainab Okafor. How fast can we make it happen? As soon as possible, the lawyer replied. The adoption process wasn't fast, but Frank had money, and money in this world move mountains. He hired the best family lawyer in Lagos, filed emergency custody papers for Z, argued that she was in danger on the streets, that she had no living relatives, that he could provide a stable home. The judge, a stern woman named Justice Adeyemi,
Your Honor, the evidence clearly shows my
Mr.
client's
Benson,
innocence. I
this
demand
is
that this case
highly
be dismissed
unusual.
immediately.
You want to adopt a 17-year-old girl you've known for less than a month. Yes, Your Honor. Why? Frank glanced at Z, sitting beside him in the courtroom. Small, scared, but dignified. Because she saved my daughter's life. Not physically, emotionally. My daughter was dying inside, and this girl brought her back. That's admirable, but it's not a legal basis for adoption. Then consider this. Zainab has no one. She sleeps in shelters. She sells water in traffic. She's 17. In 1 year, she'll age out of any remaining social services. She'll be completely alone. Justice Adeyemi looked at Z. Is this what you want, child? Z stood, her voice steady. Yes, ma'am. I know it's strange. I know people will think Mr. Benson is crazy, but he's the first person who ever saw me as more than trash. And his daughter. She's the first person who ever needed me. I want to stay. I want to be part of something. I want to matter. The courtroom was silent. Justice Adeyemi studied Z for a long moment. You speak well for a girl who's been on the streets. My mother taught me, before she died. She said, no matter how poor you are, speak like you own the world. A small smile crossed the judge's face. Your mother was wise. She looked at Frank. I'm granting temporary custody. 6 months. During that time, I'll have social workers monitor the situation. If everything checks out, we'll finalize the adoption. But Mr. Benson, if I find out this is some kind of exploitation, some wealthy man's vanity project, I will remove this girl from your home so fast your head will spin. Understood. Understood, Your Honor. Good. Court adjourned. The gavel fell. Z burst into tears. Frank pulled her into a hug. Welcome to the family. But Vanessa wasn't done. Not even close. When she found out about the adoption proceedings, she went nuclear. Called every society friend she had. Spread rumors. Frank has lost his mind. He's adopting some street girl. Probably having an affair with her. It's disgusting. The whispers spread like wildfire. At Frank's office. At business lunches. At the country club. People started looking at him differently. Some with concern. Some with disgust. His business partner, Trevor, pulled him aside one day. Guy, what's going on? People are talking. Let them talk. They're saying you're having a midlife crisis. That you're involved with a teenager. Frank's jaw clenched. Z is my daughter's companion. And soon, she'll be my legal daughter. Anyone who has a problem with that can go to hell. Tund raised his hands. Easy, man. I'm just telling you what people are saying. I don't care what people say anymore. I care about my daughter. And Z has done more for Amara in 1 month than anyone has done in 8 months. Including your wife? Especially my wife. Tund whistled low. So the divorce rumors are true? They're not rumors. They're facts. Papers have been filed. For God's sake, Frank. You're blowing up your whole life. No. I'm finally building the right one. The billionaire reaffirmed. At home, things were tense. Vanessa had moved fully into the guest wing. Refused to speak to Frank. Refused to acknowledge Z's existence. When they passed in the hallway, Vanessa would literally turn her back. Like Z was invisible. But Z didn't let it break her. She focused on Amara. Spent every afternoon
Ready to see some
with her,
moves?
Yes,
dancing,
show me.
Here comes the spin.
teaching
Wow,
her to
cool.
paint
One more.
with her fingers. And something miraculous was happening. Amara's hands were getting stronger. Her arms had more control. One day, during physical therapy, the therapist gasped. Did you see that? She just moved her toe. Everyone froze. Amara looked down at her foot. I felt something. The therapist's eyes were huge. Do it again. Try to wiggle your toes. Amara concentrated. Her face scrunched up. And slowly, so slowly, her big toe moved. Just a fraction. But it moved. The therapist grabbed her phone. I'm calling the neurologist. This is impossible. Her spinal injury was classified as complete. She shouldn't have any sensation below the waist. But she did. And over the next week, it got stronger. She could wiggle 3 toes. Could feel pressure on her feet. Could shift her hips slightly. The doctors were baffled. Sometimes, the neurologist said carefully, the body surprises us. There may have been incomplete damage. Or some nerve regeneration. We need to run more tests. But Frank knew the truth. It wasn't medical. It was hope. Amara had started believing she could heal. And belief, apparently, was powerful medicine. One evening, Frank found Z sitting alone in the garden, crying quietly. He sat beside her. What's wrong? I don't belong here. Yes, you do. No. Look at me. I'm a street kid wearing borrowed clothes in a mansion. Your wife hates me. Your friends think you're crazy. Amara's getting better, and soon she won't need me anymore. And then what? Where do I go? Frank put his arm around her shoulders. You're not going anywhere. You're family now. But why? Why are you doing this for me? Frank was quiet for a moment. Do you know what I saw the first day you came here? A homeless girl trespassing? No. I saw someone who had nothing giving everything. You had no reason to care about Amara. She couldn't pay you, couldn't help you, couldn't give you anything. But you saw a lonely child and you decided to make her happy. Z wiped her eyes. She reminded me of myself. She said finally, after my parents died. Everyone looked at me like I was broken, like I was a problem. But Mandy, when she looks at me, she sees a friend. Not a poor girl. Just Z. And when I look at you, I see courage. I see kindness. I see the daughter I never knew I needed. Z turned to him. You really mean that? With everything in me. She laid her head on his shoulder. Thank you for seeing me. They sat in silence as the sun set. Two broken people becoming family. But the storm wasn't over. 2 days later, Vanessa made her final move. She called a family meeting, demanded Frank, Amara, and Z all be present. When they gathered in the living room, Vanessa stood at the front. Like a prosecutor. I have something to say, and everyone needs to hear it. Frank crossed his arms. Get on with it. Vanessa pulled out a folder. I hired a private investigator to look into our dear Zainab's past. Z's face went pale. And guess what I found? She pulled out a photo, threw it on the coffee table. It showed a much younger Z, maybe 13, standing with a group of older kids, outside what looked like an abandoned building. This was taken 4 years ago, in Ajagunal. That's a gang territory. Those kids, 3 of them are in prison now. 1 is dead. Frank picked up the photo. So your precious adopted daughter used to run with criminals. Z stood up, her voice shaking but firm. Those weren't my friends. That was the house where I slept for 3 weeks after the orphanage kicked me out. Those kids let me stay because I had nowhere else to go. I didn't do anything illegal. I just survived. That's convenient. Vanessa cut her words. It's the truth, said Zainab. Vanessa pulled out another photo. This one showed Z taking money from a man in a car.
Take one.
Here you go.
And this? What's this? Z's face crumbled. That's from when I washed car windows. He's paying me for cleaning his windshield. Or he's paying you for something else. The implication hung in the air. Prostitution. Frank stood up, his voice deadly quiet. Get out. Excuse me. I said get out. Out of this room. Out of this house. Out of our lives. You can't throw me out. Watch me. You just accused a 17-year-old girl of prostitution with 0 evidence. You're trying to destroy a child because she makes your stepdaughter happy. You're a monster. Vanessa's face twisted. I'm trying to protect this family. You don't give a damn about this family. You care about money, about status, about yourself. Amara wheeled forward, her voice small but clear. Mommy Vanessa, why do you hate Z so much? Vanessa looked at Amara, and for a moment, her mask slipped. Because she's taking you away from me. You never wanted me to begin with. The words hung in the air. Simple. True. Devastating. Vanessa's mouth opened, closed. Amara, that's not. Yes, it is. I heard you on the phone. You called me the broken one. You said you wished I'd go to a special home so you could have Daddy all to yourself. Tears streamed down Amara's face. I was 8 years old, and you made me feel like I shouldn't exist. Vanessa had no response. For the first time, she looked ashamed. But Z, Amara continued, Z made me feel like I mattered, like I was still a whole person, like I deserved to be loved. She wheeled over to Z, took her hand. So if you want to take her away, you'll have to take me too. Because we're sisters now. And sisters don't leave each other. The room was silent. Vanessa looked at Frank, at Amara, at Z, and finally realized she'd lost. Without another word, she turned and walked out. They heard her car start, heard her drive away. Frank knelt down in front of his daughter. I'm so proud of you. Amara was crying. Is she coming back? I don't think so, baby. Good. Amara looked at Z. You're really staying? Forever. Z knelt down too, took Amara's hands. Forever and ever, little queen. I'm not going anywhere. They hugged, and Frank, watching them, felt something shift in his chest. His family had been broken, but maybe Just maybe, it was being rebuilt. Stronger this time. Better. With people who actually loved each other. 3 months passed. Vanessa never came back. The divorce was finalized quietly. She took a settlement, much smaller than she wanted, and moved to Abuja. Wiped her hands of the damaged family she'd never wanted. Frank didn't miss her. Amara certainly didn't. The house felt lighter without her. Like someone had opened all the windows and let the air flow again. Z's adoption was finalized on a Tuesday morning. Justice Adeyemi called them all into chambers. I've reviewed the social worker reports, talked to Amara's doctors, spoken to school officials, and I'm satisfied that this arrangement is in everyone's best interest. She looked at Z. Zainab Okafor, as of today, you are legally Zainab Benson. Congratulations. Z started crying. Happy tears this time. Amara wheeled over and grabbed her hand. We're really sisters now. Really. Frank signed the papers. Made it official. When they left the courthouse, reporters were waiting. Word had gotten out. Billionaire adopts homeless teenager. The story had gone viral. Some people called it beautiful. Others called it suspicious. Frank didn't care. He held Z's hand on one side, Amara's wheelchair handle on the other, and walked past the cameras without saying a word. His family didn't need defending. They just needed protecting. But the real miracle came 2 weeks later. Amara had been working with her physical therapist every day. Her toe movement
That's it. Keep
had
going. You're
progressed
doing
to
great.
ankle
Look at you
movement,
go, almost
then
there.
knee flexing.
I'm trying.
The
You
doctors
are.
still couldn't explain
That's it. Keep going. You're doing great.
Sometimes
Look
the
at you
body
go,
heals
almost
in
there.
ways we don't
trying.
understand,
You
they
are.
said. But everyone knew the truth. Amara had found hope. And hope had unlocked something the medical scans couldn't see. One afternoon, Z and Amara were in the garden. Their usual spot. Z was teaching Amara a new song. When suddenly, Amara went very still. Z. I felt something. What kind of something? In my legs. Like electricity. Z's eyes went wide. Can you move them? Amara concentrated. Her face scrunched up with effort. And slowly, impossibly, her right leg shifted. Just an inch. But it moved. Z. Did you see that? I saw it. Do it again. Amara tried again. This time both legs moved. Slightly. Shakily. But they moved. Z screamed. Ran to get Frank. Found him in his study. She's moving. Mandy's moving her legs. Frank dropped everything. Ran to the garden. Found his daughter with tears streaming down her face. Legs trembling with effort, but moving. Daddy, Daddy, look. Frank fell to his knees, grabbed her hands. I see you, baby. I see you. He called the doctors immediately. They came within the hour, ran tests, checked reflexes, measured nerve responses. The neurologist looked stunned. I've never seen anything like this. The damage we saw on the original scans should have made this impossible. But it's happening, Frank said. It's happening. The doctor knelt down in front of Amara. Sweetheart, I want you to try something for me. I want you to try to stand. Just for a second. Your dad and I will hold you. Can you try? Amara looked terrified. What if I fall? Then we catch you, Z said, kneeling beside her. We'll always catch you. Frank and the doctor lifted Amara out of her wheelchair, held her upright. Now, the doctor said gently, put weight on your legs. Just a little bit. Amara gripped their arms, took a breath, and pushed. Her legs shook violently, but they held. For 3 seconds. Then 5. Then 10. She was standing. On her own legs. For the first time in 8 months, everyone in the garden was crying. The doctor, the nurses, James, watching from the doorway, Frank, holding his daughter, and Z, who had started all of this just by dancing. That night, after Amara was asleep, Frank found Z on the balcony, the same balcony where he'd first seen her. Thinking about something? Z smiled. Just remembering the first day I came here. I was so scared. I thought you'd have me arrested. I almost did. What stopped you? Amara's laugh. I hadn't heard it in so long. And there it was. Because of you. Z looked out at the garden. I didn't do anything special. I just danced. You did everything special. You saw a lonely child and you gave her hope. You gave her belief. You gave her a reason to fight. She gave me those things too. Frank put his arm around her shoulders. I know people still talk. Still say I'm crazy for adopting you. Are you? Probably. But it's the best kind of crazy. Z leaned against him. Thank you for making me part of something. For giving me a family. Thank you for saving mine. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Two people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way. A billionaire who'd learned that wealth meant nothing without love. And a homeless girl who'd taught him what real richness looked like. 6 months later, there was a party. Not a fancy society gala. Just a family celebration. In the garden where it all began, Amara walked, across the grass. Slowly, carefully, using a walker for support. But walking. Her doctors called it a miracle. Her therapists called it impossible. Frank called it proof that love could heal what medicine couldn't. Z had started school. A real school. With a uniform and books and friends. She was thriving. Top of her class in literature. Learning to speak French. Planning to study medicine one day. So I can help other kids like Mandy, she said. The party was small. Just close friends. James was there, crying into his handkerchief. The therapists who'd worked with Amara. Justice Adeyemi, who'd finalized the adoption. And a few of Frank's real friends. The ones who'd stood by him when everyone else whispered. Amara stood in the middle of the garden, holding her walker, wearing a yellow dress. I want to say something, she announced. Everyone went quiet. A year ago, I wanted to die. I couldn't walk, couldn't do anything, and I felt so alone. Even in a house full of people, I was alone. Tears streamed down her face. But then Z came, and she didn't see a broken girl. She saw me, the real me, and she danced, and she made me remember that life could still be beautiful. She looked at Z. You saved my life, not by fixing my legs, by fixing my heart. Z was crying too, and you saved mine, little queen. You gave me a reason to be brave. They hugged, long and tight, sisters in every way that mattered. Frank stood watching, his eyes wet, his heart full. Everything he'd lost, his first wife, his peace, his hope, had been returned to him. Not in the same form, but in something better, something real. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Z started to dance. Not a performance. Just movement. Just joy. Amara laughed. Tried to move with her walker. Spinning slowly in circles. Dancing in her own way. And Frank watched. The same way he'd watched that first day. From the balcony. But this time, he wasn't angry. Wasn't suspicious. Wasn't afraid. He was grateful. For the homeless girl who'd slipped through his hedge, who'd seen his daughter's pain and decided to heal it, who'd taught his family what it meant to be rich, not in money, but in love. Frank stood on the balcony, just like he did that first day. But now, 2 years had passed. Down in the garden, Amara was running, actually running, chasing Z through the flowers. Both of them laughing, both of them free. The security alarm didn't go off, because Z wasn't trespassing anymore. She lived here, belonged here, was family. Frank's phone buzzed. A message from Z. Mandy wants to know if we can have dancing lessons in the garden tonight. She wants to teach her friends from school. Frank smiled. Typed back, "Of course. It's her garden now." He put his phone away, gripped the balcony railing. The same railing he'd gripped 2 years ago, when he'd seen a barefoot girl dancing for his paralyzed daughter, and thought about calling security. If he'd sent her away, Amara might still be in that wheelchair, broken, hopeless, alone. But he hadn't. He'd watched. He'd listened to his daughter's laughter. And he'd made the most important decision of his life. To let love in, even when it looked dirty, even when it looked wrong, even when everyone said he was crazy. Down in the garden, Z lifted Amara up and spun her around, both of them dizzy with joy. And Frank understood something he'd never known before. The richest man in the world isn't the one with the most money. It's the one who knows what's worth protecting, what's worth fighting for, what's worth keeping, even when the world doesn't understand. Especially then. He turned from the balcony, walked downstairs, stepped into the garden. His daughters saw him and ran over. "Daddy, come dance with us." And for the first time in his carefully controlled, perfectly planned, billionaire life, Frank danced. Badly, awkwardly, beautifully. Because sometimes the best things in life can't be bought. They can only be found. In the most unexpected places. By the most unexpected people. In a homeless girl's courage. In a paralyzed child's hope. In a broken man's decision to finally see what mattered. If you're watching this and thinking about the Z's in your life, the people you almost ignored, almost dismissed, almost sent away, maybe it's time to look again. Maybe they're not trespassing. Maybe they're the answer you've been looking for all along. If you watch this story till now, take a moment to like and share to your family and friends to let them know that there's light at the end of every tunnel. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Stay safe and healthy till the next story and watch the next video suggested for you. Love you all and see you in the next story.